everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button for this video. In this training video, I'll be demonstrating the CNA testable skill transfers from bed to wheelchair using a transfer belt. There are two critical element steps, steps number 5 and steps number 8. Steps number 3 to 11 are only order dependent on standing that person. So you can perform those steps in the most logical manner, okay? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
Come in.
Good morning, Miss Elizabeth. My name is Julie and I'm your CNA, and today I'm going to transfer you from your bed to your wheelchair, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, first I'm going to do a quick safety check. Make sure your bed is in a low, safe position. Your bed wheels are locked. Here's your call light, just in case you need me for anything. And I'm going to go ahead and provide you with some privacy. I'm going to go wash my hands and gather my supplies, and I'll be right back, okay? Miss Elizabeth, I'm back. I'm just going to get the wheelchair set up, okay? So before the person stands, you want to make sure that you have the wheelchair in place. You can either place the wheelchair at the foot of the bed, facing the head of the bed, or at the head of the bed, facing the foot of the bed. In this video, I'm going to place the wheelchair at the foot of the bed, facing the head of bed. You want to make sure that you either fold the leg rests up and or move them out to the side. Okay? You also want to make sure that you lock the wheelchair. You want to do all of this before this person stands. I'm going to place the wheelchair as close to the bed as I can, and the reason why we do this is because we do not want the client to take more than 2 steps to reach the wheelchair. Okay? Miss Elizabeth, I'm going to help you sit up into a seated position, okay?
Yes.
The easiest way to do this is to interlock your arm with the client's arm. This other hand, I'm going to place behind her back. On the count of 3, I'm going to sit you up, okay? 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Now, once you sit the person up in bed, you want to make sure that you close their gown completely as much as possible. The reason being is because if you do not, when you place that gait belt, if it's touching the person's street clothes, you will not receive credit for that step. So make sure the gown is closed as much as possible. Okay. Another thing is that you have to assist the person into a seated position. If you have that person sit up on their own, you will not receive credit for the step. Miss Elizabeth, I'm going to go ahead and turn you to the side of the bed, okay? The easiest way to do this is to place one arm underneath the knee joint and place your other arm on the person's back. On the count of 3, I'm going to turn you to the side, okay? 1, 2, and 3. And while I still have my hand placed on the client, I'm going to ask her to scoot up to the edge of the bed to make sure that her feet are flat on the floor. I'm going to go ahead and recheck the gown to make sure I have it closed completely in the back. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate putting on the person's shoes. If the person initiates it, you will not receive credit for this step. Miss Elizabeth, here are your shoes. Do you need help putting them on?
No.
Okay, you can go ahead and put them on. Okay, this is a gait belt. This is going to help me transfer you from the bed to the wheelchair, and I'm going to place it around your waist, okay? Can you lift your arms up for me, please? And when you put the gait belt on the person, you want to make sure that the buckle is not directly over their belly button, so you want to have it off to the side a little bit, and you want to make sure that it is snug. The excess belt you can leave hanging, or you can tuck inside the gait belt, which I'm going to do. Okay? Now the next step is you want to make sure that before you stand that person, you're stabilizing their legs. There's two ways you can do it. You can do it knee to knee. Lift your gown up just a little bit. Okay, when you do it knee to knee, you need to make sure that your knees are touching the resident's knees. If not, you will not receive credit for this step. Or you can do toe to toe and knee to knee. Okay, again, they must be touching. In this training video, I'm going to stabilize her legs, placing my legs in between hers and making sure that our knees are touching. Miss Elizabeth, you can keep your hands just like this. I'm going to stand you up on the count of 3, okay? When you place your, when you place your hands underneath the gait belt, you want to make sure that your palms are face up, okay? All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right. After I stand her, I'm going to make sure I close her gown completely in the back because you do not want to overexpose the resident. Okay, Miss Elizabeth, if you could pivot to your right and take one step back. Can you feel the wheelchair behind your legs? Okay. On the count of 3, we're going to go ahead and sit down, okay? 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Now the next thing that you want to do after you seat the resident in the wheelchair, ask the person to lean forward. And the reason why you want to do this is because you want to make sure that the person's buttocks and hips are all the way to the back of the chair. If you can slide your hand all the way down to the seat, you're going to have that person to scoot back some. In this case, Miss Elizabeth's back and buttocks and hips are already to the back of the chair, okay? All right. I'm going to go ahead and place your feet on the leg rest. Move this out the way a little bit here. Oops. There we go. The slot, and I'm going to go ahead and take off your gait belt. Could you lean forward for me, please? There we go. Right. You want to make sure that after you seat the resident in the wheelchair that you give them their call light. And there's your call light, just in case you need me for anything. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and do my closing procedures to make sure that the resident is in a safe, comfortable position and the bed is at a safe level. Bed is still low and safe. Bed wheels are still locked. Privacy is maintained. Resident has their call light. Washing my hands, skill complete.